Ah, what's going on? What's going on, brothers? What's going on, YouTube land? Oh, it's not Wednesday. It's not Tuesday night. It's Wednesday night. I normally go live on Tuesday nights. I put an upload up yesterday, but I decided that I would just wait to do this. I decided to put this off. That was yesterday. I will put this off until Tuesday of next week. What's going on, brothers? What's going on? I see y'all. I was going to wait until Tuesday of next week to do this particular broadcast. But I decided to go ahead and do this now because Tariq Nasheed's documentary, Buck Breaking, is something that needs to be talked about. And I want to talk about it with all you brothers. I want to talk to you because we need to talk about this documentary. What's going on? I see you, Kweku. Sasi, I see you. The Real Logic. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? We're gonna give the brothers a few minutes. Come on into the room. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. I hope you guys are doing well on a Wednesday night. It is July 14th, 2021. It is a beautiful Wednesday here in the state of North Carolina where I live. And I am so excited about talking to you guys this evening about this documentary, Buck Breaking. So we're gonna give the brother. What's up, Corey Green? What's going on? I see you, man. We're gonna give the brothers a few minutes to come into the chat, a few minutes to come into the chat room, and we're gonna have a serious conversation. And these are gonna be my initial thoughts, brothers. My initial thoughts. Yes, indeed, my initial thoughts. I hope you guys are doing well. There's a lot that's going on right now in the lives of Black Americans in particular, and Black Americans in general, and Black men in particular. What's going on, Universal 178? I see you in the house. I see you. I see you. I see you. Yeah, we have to talk about it. That is absolutely right. If you guys have not seen this documentary, if y'all have not seen Buck Breaking, I suggest that you all go ahead and see the documentary. I'm going to say some things this evening about the documentary and why we need to talk about it, and why it's a serious challenge to what's been going on in America for the last several decades. What's going on, G-Rock? What's going on? What's going on? Y'all come on in the room, man. Y'all come on in the room. We're going to talk about a whole lot of things, man. We got to talk about Mr. Tariq Nasheed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Tariq Nasheed. Mr. Hidden Colors. That's right. Mr. Hidden Colors. A brother, a Black man who has been in the face of social media for quite some time now. A brother with a very strong point of view. And a brother who puts his money where his mouth is. A brother who has a lot of backbone, a brother who has a lot of balls. We're going to talk about black men. A black man with balls, a black man with backbone, a black man with backbone, rather. What's going on, brothers? Y'all come on in here, man. Y'all come on in here. That's right. That's right. What's happening, brothers? I'm still working on, I'm improving my tech. I'm improving my tech slowly but surely. I've been taking my time. Y'all know I'm a scholar. I do a lot of writing. I do teaching and all sorts of things. And I've been taking my time with special effects, all the George Lucas stuff. What's going on, brothers? All the George Lucas, all the Star Wars, all the Matrix special effects, that's coming, that's coming, that's coming, brothers. All the sound effects and all the music and all that kind of stuff is coming. But for the time being, brothers, y'all, you all have this content. This is raw, this is live, this is uncut, this is unfiltered, this is unedited. This is me in the flesh with you, my brothers. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do it, brothers. You remember hip hop? You remember the early days of hip hop? The early days of hip hop, we talking about analog, where they had the turntables, they had the mixers, the early days of hip hop. You talking about production. They did not have the state-of-the-art production of the big record labels or the big music producers. But them brothers took what they had. And they took what they had and they turned it into gold. They turned it into platinum. They turned it into everything that hip hop is today. Them brothers took a regular VHS camera that you could buy at any store at that particular time. You remember Straight Outta Compton? Straight Outta Compton, that video, y'all go back to that classic video, Straight Outta Compton. That video was recorded on a basic camcorder. The camcorder had just been introduced into the public, and those brothers created magic with it. Doggone it, they sure did. So we keep it raw. We keep it raw right here. We keep it raw. We keep it raw. And so no slight to all the content creators who, you know, they have all, you know, they have editors and all that kind of stuff. Right now, I don't, you know, it's coming along. It is coming along. What's going on, brothers? I see you in the house. I see you in the house. I see you, Mr. GG Zero Money Real Estate. I see you, Winston. I see you, brother. I see you, Max Soul Excellence. I see you, brothers. I see you, Ross. What's happening? What's happening? What's going on, brother? I'm glad that you all are here. I'm glad that you all are here. We're going to talk about this documentary, man. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to give you my initial thoughts about this film, and I'm going to tell y'all straight up, man. So I am really thinking about doing a number of videos on this documentary because there's a lot of stuff that's in there, man. It's 140 that's long, and a lot of information that is there, a lot of perspectives are there, and it will really take more than one video. It would take more than one video to really do justice to this film. But these are just my preliminary thoughts on the film Buck Breaking and why Buck Breaking is important for the Black manosphere, why Buck Breaking is important for heterosexual Black men in the United States, why Buck Breaking is important for all of us who are interested in Black male independence, BMI, Black Male Agency, BMA, and Black Men's Empowerment, BME. That's what this stream is about. That's what this stream is about. This is about Black men's media. BMM. I've given you a brand new acronym. BMM. Black men's media. BMM, Black men's media. Doggone it. And that's what I'm a part of. I'm committed to Black men's media. I'm committed to Black men having a voice in the world of global media. We're talking about voices that are unfiltered, uncensored, unchained. We're talking about voices that are independent, voices coming from the standpoint of heterosexual Black men. Let me say that again. Voices that are coming from heterosexual Black men, okay? And it's important that we support Black men's media. Everything that you see in the Black manosphere, all across YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, and everything, all of that, when you talk about Black men producing content, heterosexual Black men talking about the interests of Black men, talking about the concerns of Black men, talking about the lives of Black men, talking about the challenges that Black men have to endure, talking about the problems of Black men. All right, that's what Black men's media is all about. Because the mainstream media, I ain't got to tell you, brothers, the mainstream media doesn't care about us. The mainstream media does not care about our questions. The mainstream media does not care about our voices. It does not care about our lives. It doesn't care about our deaths. But let me back up. It does care about our deaths. It cares about our deaths to the extent that they can profit from our deaths, to the extent that they can make advertising revenue from our deaths, to the extent that they can get higher ratings off of our deaths. So that's the only concern that mainstream media has with Black men. But brothers, we live in the age of technology. We live in the age of unprecedented expression, articulation of Black men's voices through this thing right here. Y'all see this? Y'all see it right here. This is right here. I'm going to keep saying this. Brothers, I'm going to keep saying this to you. I'm going to say this to the world blue in the face. This stuff right here. Y'all see this? This stuff right here. Y'all see this? All this stuff has liberated us. This has completely liberated us because we can talk freely and we can talk about our lives without worrying about the introduction or the infiltration and the co-optation of other forces. And that's why I'm talking about this documentary, Tariq Nasheed's Buck Breaking. What's going on, brothers? Y'all come on in the house, man. Y'all come on in the house. I'm not going to spend too much time on preliminaries, brothers. But listen, let me tell you guys, I've watched Tariq Nasheed's Buck Breaking. At this point, I've watched it 2 times. I've watched it two times. It is a 140-minute documentary. It is well produced cinematically. It's a very, very a well put together presentation. I have to give a shout out to Tariq Nasheed. This brother has been consistent in terms of putting his money where his mouth is. This brother has been consistent in terms of being forthright and talking about issues that are pertinent in general to Black people in the United States, but in particular, Black men in particular. Y'all know, you all have seen Hidden Colors and all of that. And I've seen the documentary series Hidden Colors. But brothers, Buck Breaking is a very different thing that this brother has produced that we need to really, really deal with. And it deals with ideology. It deals with ideology. It deals with history. It deals with the mechanisms, the tools of conquest that have been directed primarily at Black people in the United States. And let me just say this, brothers, and I have to get this out here. So Tariq Nasheed in this documentary deals with human sexuality. He deals with sexuality. And the brother deals with Black people in relationship to sexuality and race, in terms of slavery, in terms of how Black people were dealt with during the transatlantic slave trade in relationship to sex and sexual exploitation. Everything that brother talks about, a lot of the material that you're going to find in Buck Breaking is historical. A lot of it has already been documented. Tariq Nasheed and I give him credit for this. The stuff that he's talking about in that documentary has been documented. It's been documented by historians. It has been documented by anthropologists. It has been documented by theorists. A whole host of people have documented much of the content that Mr. Nasheed places within that film, but breaking. And let me just go straight for the jugular right here. So Tariq Nasheed, brothers, Tariq Nasheed is for the jugular right here. So Tariq Nasheed, brothers, Tariq Nasheed is very, very concerned about what's happening with black men, black people right now in terms of sexual ideology. Sexual ideology, the most popular sexual ideologies in the United States. Listen, guys, listen, guys. We live in a liberal society. American society is a very, very liberal society today. We live in a society that has been influenced by the politics of the late 1960s, the 1970s, what is called the sexual revolution, which involved the women's movement, women pushing women's rights and sexual freedom, abortion, but also dealing with gay rights and gay liberation and gay ideology and gay politics and all of that. And the push primarily by white people, white lesbians, white gays, heterosexual white women through feminism and what is known today as LGBTQ politics, their efforts to liberalize and to relativize sexuality. Okay, that is to remove tradition. That is, you remove the traditional family, you remove the traditional heterosexual male from the family. You remove traditional sexuality from the family in an effort in their minds to make society freer and liberated. And so you all already know that we live in a moment right now. The gays and lesbians have been very, very successful, brother. The gays and lesbians over the last 20 years, LGBTQ people, driven mainly by white people, they have been successful in expanding notions of sexuality and the like. They've got gay marriage. You have a push right now for transgender rights and what have you. And you have people with all sorts of ideologies. They're talking about, sexual, fluidity. They're talking about the idea that there is no distinction, no radical distinctions between male and female, that a woman can operate traditionally the way in which a man has, and that a man can operate traditionally the way in which a woman has, and that there are no gender roles or what have you, and that once you eliminate gender roles altogether and we stop using gender roles, that somehow or another that's going to usher in, that's going to bring about some type of kingdom of God. And so Tariq Nasheed goes head on in dealing with a lot of these ideas. And I'm going to say, I'm putting this out here, brothers, that Tariq Nasheed, and it shouldn't be no surprise to you that a lot of feminists have called him a misogynist because he's been very critical of feminism. A lot of gay people, LGBTQ people, they have called him a homophobic because he has also been critical of the LGBTQ movement. A lot of folks, they would accuse him, the people on Twitter and everything, called him toxic masculinity and all that kind of stuff. The stuff that we see all the time, we see it all over social media, and we see it in politics. And as you know, with our current president, Joe Biden, he has been very supportive of gay and lesbian ideas and rights and the like. And let me just say this, and I want to say this for all you brothers. I want to say this for all you brothers right here, just in terms of my perspective. I am a sexual libertarian. I am a sexual libertarian. And what that means is that I have no interest. I want y'all to get this clear, because I know there are going to be people who are watching this stream who are not a part of the Black manosphere. There are a whole bunch of trolls that are out there. I really don't care what they think, but I just wanted to be clear. I wanted to be documented that I am a sexual libertarian. What does that mean? I don't care about what gays and lesbians do. I don't care about what two men do who like each other, who want to be together. I don't care about their practices. I don't care about what lesbians do. I don't care about what bisexuals do. I don't care about, a variety of things. I'm saying, as long as you have two consenting adults, if you have two people who are consensual, they can do what they want to do. You understand what I'm saying? And sexual libertarian also means, and I want y'all to get this, brothers. I want y'all to get this, brothers. Sexual libertarianism means that you as a black man can do what you want to do. Yes, you can do what you want to do if you are a black man, if you are a heterosexual black man, okay? What does that mean? That means that if you want to date one woman, if you want to date two women, if you want to engage in polygamy, if you want to engage in polyandry, if you want to engage in whatever type of heterosexual relationships that you are interested in, you can do it as long as you have consenting people. If you are a black man who's interested in dating women who are younger than you, and as long as the woman is an adult, she's full and she's mature, okay, and she consent to whatever arrangements that you all have, you can do it. And that the government, the state, nobody should interfere. Nobody should interfere in your personal relationships or relations or sexual relations. So all you playboys, as long as you are not engaging in coercive activities, as long as you're not forcing anybody to do anything, and as long as it's by consent, brothers, you do what you do. Doggone it. You do what you do. That's what sexual libertarianism means. Okay? That's what it means. Now, here is the problem. The problem comes when you have people who are involved in whatever type of sexual practices, who involved in anything. It doesn't matter what they're involved in, whether it's gay or straight, when they seek to impose their sexual practices and ideologies on other people. That is, when they demand that other people conform to what they do, demand that what they do, or that they demand people to be cheerleaders for what they do. That's why I draw the line. That's where I draw the line. And I think that is exactly where Tariq Nasheed draws the line right there. Okay? Now, let me get the black people, man. Let's get the black people. And I'm not going to be here for a very, 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 very long time. Black people have been subject to sexual domination. Sexual domination. One of the key features of this film, Buck Breaking, deals with the fact that black people's sexuality, black men and black women, a part of the slave trade, even a part of Jim Crow, was manipulated. Black people were controlled. Their bodies were controlled on the plantation. Okay? All right. You had breeding farms on the plantation where black men and black women were forced to breed and to create children for the sake of labor, to create more property, to create more wealth for people who ran plantations, white slave owners. That's the truth. That's a fact. And not only that, is that sexuality was used on the plantation, that is coercive, violent sexuality was used on plantation to control black people. Rape, sodomy, all sorts of sexual were used to intimidate and to keep black people in their places within the context of the transatlantic slave trade. And brothers, that's what Tariq Nasheed deals with in the documentary Buck Breaking. And Tariq Nasheed deals with the legacy of that, the legacy of control, the legacy of sodomy. There's involuntary sexual relations. I'm gonna show y'all some stuff right here. Y'all see this book right here? Where y'all at? Y'all see this book right here? Y'all know whose book this is? Y'all know who this is? Dr. Tommy Curry, the man nut. Dr. Tommy J. Curry, who was at Edinburgh, the University of Edinburgh in Scotland, all right? Tommy Curry has written extensively. He has written extensively on sexual abuse, on the sexual abuse of Black men and Black boys in American history. He has written extensively about a chapter, a phenomenon in history that nobody has dealt with. Okay, it's a very, very painful history, and it's very difficult for Black men. Very difficult for Black men. All you straight Black men, here's the deal, brothers. It's very difficult for us straight Black men to deal with the fact that Black men were sodomized, that Black men were raped, that Black men were raped in front of their children. Black men were raped in front of women who were their wives, informal wives or former wives. They were raped in front of entire populations of Black people by white men in order to send a message to Black people, all right, that is the white master, was in control, okay? And Black men have been used in this fashion, not only in the United States, but all across the world. All across the world, wherever you had slavery, wherever you have domination, it happened in South Africa, okay? It happened in Brazil. It happened all across. It happened in Jamaica. It happened all across. It happened in Haiti. It happened all across what we know as the Black diaspora. And we associated with this thing called emasculation. That is to strip a man, to strip a man of his power, to strip a man of his agency, to strip a man of his will for the sake of controlling him and dominating him, and not only controlling and dominating him, but in dominating an entire community. And brothers, Tariq Nasheed deals with this history that no one wants to talk about. And no one wants to talk about the very, very legacy of this history and how Black men, particularly heterosexual Black men, brothers, heterosexual Black men have been and are regarded, I ain't got to tell you this, y'all know this, as a threat to American society, to the establishment, okay? And that our sexuality, all right, has always been seen as something that is deviant. Our sexuality has always been seen as something that is evil. Our sexuality has always been something that's seen as sinister in the American experience, brothers, in the American experience. And the perception of the Black male sexual threat. Now, I'll give you an example. Emmett Till. Y'all know the classic case of Emmett Till. Emmett Till lost his life. Emmett Till was executed. Emmett Till was slaughtered. Emmett Till never got to see a full-blown Black youth. He never got to see full-blown Black manhood because someone saw him as a threat. He spoke to someone. He talked to a young female. He flirted with a woman. This is Me Too. Me Too. He flirted. It was a Me Too scenario. He flirted with a woman, a young white woman, and because he flirted with a young white woman, he lost his life. Brothers, that's what we're talking about. He was not seen as gay. He wasn't seen as bisexual. He wasn't seen as some non-binary person. He was seen as a heterosexual Black male who was a threat to white supremacy. And that is very, very real. And people don't like talking about it. And people don't like talking about the fact. People don't like talking about the fact. And y'all give me a second. I want to show y'all something. People don't want to talk about the fact that Black men have dealt with this for a very long time. Y'all see this book right here? I'm going to show y'all the book. Y'all see this book? I just bought this book within the last 3 months. See this book? This book is called White Fright. White Sexual Panic at the Heart of America's History. This is by an American white woman, a historian, a historian. This has to deal with interracial relationships during the age of Jim Crow, or the idea of interracial relationships during the era of Jim Crow and prior to that. You had a whole bunch of laws, interracial laws that were against what they call miscegenation, interracial marriage. White men were fearful of black men having sexual relations with white women, and so they outlawed it. Not only did they outlaw it, but they killed black men as a result of it. This is a book that just came out this year. So this thing is very real. And what we're seeing today, and all we've seen with black athletes, and you see it today with black men who are high profile, you see it today with black men all across the spectrum who lose their livelihoods, who lose their reputation, who are pathologized, who are demonized because they are seen as sexual threats. And we saw it in popular culture. We saw it during the 80s. We saw it during the hip hop era. We saw it with Luther Campbell and the 2 Live Crew. And y'all know the story of Luther Campbell and the 2 Live Crew, and how Luther Campbell had to fight just to make music. All he did was make music about, these were black men talking about sex on record. That's all they did. They talked about sex on record. They did performances. They had women, they had dancers, what have you, women who were not forced to dance, okay? And as a consequence, in South Florida, in Broward County, okay, those brothers, all right, went to jail, all right? They were charged with breaking all sorts of obscenity laws pertaining to lewd and lascivious behavior and all that kind of stuff. Never picked up a gun, never forced anybody to do anything, okay? All they were doing was entertainment. This has been the history. And even before that, you go into the blues. If y'all brothers study the blues, I want y'all to study the blues. If you've never seen this movie called Cadillac Records, y'all go to watch the film Cadillac Records. Cadillac Records came out around 2007. Yeah, 2007, 2006, 2007. All right. It deals with chess records. It deals with the phenomenon of the blues. Chuck Berry, Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, Little Walter, and all those blues men who went to jail and who were attacked because they sang songs that were seductive. They sang songs that white people liked, white women liked, and as a consequence, a lot of those guys, they went to jail. Chuck Berry went to jail just for singing songs. And so, brothers, this thing is very real. And buck breaking deals with that. It deals with black men being conceived and being understood as threats, heterosexual threats, primarily to the dominant culture, white people in particular. That's what that was all about. And so buck breaking looks at the whole dynamics of it. And it's a very complicated, brothers. It's a very complicated history. It's a very complicated phenomenon, and you have to watch it for yourself. Tariq Nasheed looks at ancient history, sexuality, the Greeks. He looks at sexuality in Europe, in modern Europe. He looks at how certain sexual practices, which were imported from one part of the world to the next, okay, which is very important. As I said, a lot of scholars have dealt with this. Now, I want to talk particularly about, because I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time here, about LGBTQ people and LGBTQ ideology, because he talks a lot about that, particularly towards the second half of the film, LGBTQ ideology. And the fact, here's the thing, is that LGBTQ ideology in many ways plays into those old stereotypes, those old tropes, those old racist tropes about black men as being sexual monsters, sexual savages, sexual brutes. And so when people talk about this toxic masculinity and when they talk about homophobia, the way in which they talk about homophobia with black men today is no different from the type of ideas that led to black men being lynched during the era of Jim Crow. In other words, a lot of that toxic masculinity language that people use, all that heterosexual language, all right, is no different, or the thinking behind it is no different from what got Emmett Till killed. So what does that mean? You have an inversion, brothers. You have an inversion right now, and this is not true all over the United States. This is not true, brothers, all over the United States, but it's true for a particular sector of people in America, all right? There is a sector of people, and you can see it with some elements of the LGBTQ population, and I'm going to be fair to them. I'm going to say this to you, brothers. It's not all of them. It's not the entire LGBTQ population, all right? You have extreme elements. Just as you have extreme feminists, you have extreme LGBTQ people. And what does that extremism mean? It means, all right, that heterosexuality is seen as a pathology. It is seen as a sin. It is seen as something demonic and savage. And for some folks, it is seen as unnatural. It is talked about as just some basic social construct that people have invented. And so because black men are the most visible men in the United States, and because black men are seen as men who demonstrate, not all of us who demonstrate a kind of masculinity that is raw, as aggressive, you know, we are targeted as these toxic heterosexual males. And in my own work, brothers, in the work that I do, I say in the work that I do as an academic that there is a demonic imagination, that black men's sexuality is seen in demonic terms. We are associated with the devil. We are associated with evil. And there is this perception that heterosexuality, black male heterosexuality, is fundamentally evil. And if you can convince people that black male heterosexuality is fundamentally evil, then you can convince people that this heterosexuality needs to be eliminated. It needs to be exterminated. It needs to be wiped out. And if you can't wipe it out, what do? You have to control it. You have to contain it. You put it in prison. You put it in jail. You neutralize it. You castrate it. You do something to control it. So these ideas, here's the deal, brothers. These ideas that Tariq Nasheed talks about in Buck Breaking are very old ideas. They're very, very old ideas. They did not begin with the LGBTQ population. Those ideas go back to the transatlantic slave trade. And you can also see those ideas in the phenomenon of colonialism. Colonialism, European colonialism, Dutch colonialism, French colonialism, and English colonialism. Well, you can also look at Spanish colonialism, but colonialism writ at large, that you have to subdue the population, to subdue their sexuality. Now, why is this important, brothers? Why is this important, brothers? Because there is a need in terms of black male media. There's a need for us in this space to be smart, to be sophisticated, to understand where this stuff comes from. I'm talking about buck breaking because buck breaking will help you do research. Do research, brothers. And I'm going to say this. I have some criticism of buck breaking. I'm not going to put my criticism of buck breaking out right now, but I have some criticisms of buck breaking because I'm a scholar. I've read the literature. I've studied this stuff for a very, very long time. I'm writing about it. I've written about it. I've written about homosexuality. I've written about queer theory, all that kind of stuff. All right. I've done that work. All right. All right. And so I have some criticisms of it. Okay. But the point is that you need to understand what you're dealing with. You cannot be passive. You have to be active in understanding how people think about you. Now, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing about Tariq Nasheed. Tariq Nasheed is a man with a backbone. Tariq Nasheed is a man with balls of steel. He is a man with balls of steel. I said this on my Facebook page, okay? And why do I say he is a man with balls of steel? He is a man with balls of steel because right now, the LGBTQ population is a highly protected group. The LGBTQ population is seen as a vulnerable group. They're seen as a marginal group. They're seen as a deeply oppressed, disadvantaged group in the larger imagination. Okay, all right. And in many respects, they have attached themselves to Black people, and they have made equivocations. They have equated their condition, and I'm talking about not just the Black gays and lesbians, but the white gays and lesbians. They have equated their condition with the condition of Black people. And in fact, when they marched to the courts to fight for gay marriage, and even now when they're working on transgender issues and what have you, they use Black experience. They use Black history. They go back to the history of miscegenation, and they use America's history of preventing interracial marriage as a way of supporting their agendas and what have you. Okay, and so what does that mean? Because they're seen as this group that's under attack and protected, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to criticize them. It's very difficult to criticize them. Okay, it's difficult to criticize them because the larger society, the larger white society, all right, has wrapped its arms around them. The larger society has already labeled it as a particular disadvantaged group. And that comes with this perception that they are special, they are exceptional, and they are beyond critique. Now, the reality is, brothers, is that no group, if you are serious about being an intellectual, a scholar, if you're serious about being political, if you're serious about ideology, what have you, if you're serious about justice and freedom, brothers, there is no group in this society that is above criticism. There is no group, you see, because here's the thing. When you say that a group is above criticism, basically what you're saying is that this group is without flaw. You're saying that their ideologies are without flaw. You're saying that everything that they say is universal, necessary, and true. What you're saying is that their perspective is law. It's the gospel. It's the Vatican. It's the Bible. It's the Quran. It's Holy Writ. All of those things. And if people believe that type of stuff, you're going to get pushback. You're going to get pushback. Okay. Now, here's the other thing. We have a lot of Black folks. We have a lot of Black folks. I'm going to say a lot because the gay population is not a huge population. That's the other thing. The LGBTQ population is not a huge population. You're talking about, less than 8% of the American population. The Black population, the Black LGBTQ population, Black people are 13% of the population. 6% comprised of Black men and boys. Okay, 7% comprised of Black women and girls. We are only 13% of the population. Okay, so if gays and lesbians in general are less than like 8% of the population, can you imagine the percentages of Black people who are gay and lesbian that exist? It's a very small, minute population. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, they're small. All right, and but the media would have you think that is much larger and what have you. Okay, but the point is, brothers, that there is no group that is above analysis and critique. All right, and here's the thing. We Black men are disadvantaged. We Black men do not possess all the power in the United States. We black men are subject to death. And see, and you have groups who would try to get us to believe that somehow or another that they are in a worse and a more precarious situation than we are in. Okay. And so that has to be analyzed. That has to be assessed. So Tariq Nasheed has a lot of guts. He has balls. He has balls of steel in terms of putting this documentary out there, all right, which critiques, all right, this ideology and this particular movement, all right. And the reality is, brothers, is that there are a lot of people who have been swayed. A lot of black people, not just black gays and lesbians, but you have a lot of heterosexual, especially heterosexual black women. Heterosexual black women have been profoundly influenced by LGBTQ ideology. There are lots of heterosexual black women, especially those who are educated and professional. They will fight harder for LGBTQ issues than they will issues that are specifically affecting Black Americans. What is more, they will fight harder for LGBTQ issues than they will for Black American men who are killed in the street, Black American men who face unemployment, underemployment, over incarceration, over policing, all around stigma. That is how influential this thing is. And the big thing is that the movement itself, the LGBTQ movement, is primarily led and driven by white people, particularly white men. The white males, the white gay males are the ones who have led this movement for the last 20 years. And they have been successful, all right, in their movement mainstream. They have been successful in liberalizing American society and liberalizing ideas around homosexuality. Now, what I want y'all to do, brothers, what I want y'all to do, because I'm going to wrap this up shortly. I want y'all to do some research. And I'm going to show you all a book. Y'all see this book right here? The Endangered Black Family, coping with the unisexualization and the coming extinction of Black race. You see this book right here? Y'all see this book? Y'all see the book? This book was published in 1984. This book was published in 1984. It was published by the scholarly couple, Nathan and Julia Hare. Y'all can look up Nathan and Julia Hare on YouTube. Julia Hare died recently, a couple of years ago. But this was a black couple. They were a black couple, a black scholarly couple who worked outside of academia, and they wrote a lot of books and they did a lot of conferences, and they were committed to the Black family. These are black people who were committed to the contract between black men and women. And when this book was published in 1984, there was still somewhat of a contract between black men and women. Remember the video I did several months ago called "She Destroyed the Contract"? Okay. The contract I'm talking about is the contract that they wrote about. Understand what I'm saying? And after this, during the era that this book was published in 1984, the contract was increasingly torn apart, shredded. But in this book, they talk about all this stuff. They talk about the impact of feminism and gay rights. They talk about liberalization. They talk about the black family, talk about the situation of black men, the dire predicament of black men, and they talk about black women. They talk about the professional, educated black women. They talk about male and female relationships. All the stuff, let me say this, all the stuff what Kevin Samuels is trying to do on his show, what he's trying to do in his show, they talked about all that kind of stuff back in the early 1980s. They were just one couple who were doing it. They're very, very in pro-black. They were pro-black. They were very, very prominent in pro-black circles. Most people don't even know about them, okay? And so these questions, these issues that we're dealing with right now are just an update of a lot of the stuff that they were talking about 40 some odd years ago, okay? All right, and it hasn't gone anywhere. But here's the deal, brothers. And I said these are my initial thoughts. These are my initial thoughts on buck breaking. Dr. T.S. Johnson, I want to give a shout out to Dr. T.S. Johnson. Y'all go check out the honors report. Dr. T.S. Johnson was featured in buck breaking. And Dr. T.S. Johnson, he talked about slavery. He talked about the Black family. He talked about gender ideology. He talked about the things that he talks about on his platform in terms of how Black men, all right, have been subjected, all right, institutionally, structurally, to forms of emasculation, all right? Forms of emasculation that include our being locked out of the family, that is Black men being over incarcerated, okay? Black men being subject to all forms of extermination, okay? Informal and formal. So this, brothers, this documentary has a lot that is there. And what I like about the documentary is that it is centered on Black voices, Black voices. There are people in my world, in academia, who are not going to be particularly fond of the documentary because it does not feature a whole bunch of academics who come from my world. And they're just going to have to be mad at that, okay? And Tariq Nasheed was deliberate in being selective in terms of the type of academics, PhDs who he had on his program, because the reality is that a lot of academics right now, they are fearful of talking about a lot of these issues. They're not going to do it, all right? So when you see me, when you see Dr. T.S. Johnson, you hear Green Gorilla talking about these things, or when you have someone like a Dr. Tommy J. Curry, who is the biggest of all of us, all right? We represent a different group. We are like intellectual outlaws, okay? We deviate from the norm because we feel these issues have to be dealt with, all right? Okay, but the point is, brothers, buck breaking has a lot of lessons for Black men's media. Black men's media, BMM. We have to have our own media so that we can talk about our lives. And I mean heterosexual Black men. There is great antipathy, hatred, and vitriol directed towards heterosexual Black men. And as a consequence, when it comes down to entertainment, when it comes down to art, we have to be on the cutting edge, in the forefront of producing media that deals with heterosexual Black men. That's why I'm right here. That's why, brothers, that is why I am committed to Black men's media, because nobody else is going to do it. That's why the manosphere, the Black manosphere in particular, is important, because no one deal with heterosexual Black men's issues. And we have to stay firm, because there's this perspective that says that heterosexual Black masculinity is a crime. It is a crime. It is perceived as a crime by too many right now, not just in white society, but in Black society, okay? It is perceived as a crime. It is seen as evil. Feminists, Black feminists, they regard it as evil. They regard it as demonic. And there are academics who I know who also, when they write about heterosexuality, all you see is evil and savagery. And because of this, brothers, we have to have an independent voice, and we have to push back against these deeply racist notions about Black men. And that is why a documentary such as Buck Breaking is significant, all right, in terms of pushing back against these racist ideas, okay? And more importantly, pushing back against the efforts to colonize Black people. To colonize. I said to you before that many Black women professional, educated in particular, but it's not just them. Many Black women have been colonized by these movements. Their minds have been controlled by these movements through the media, through music, okay, through so many, through Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. They have bought into the idea that Black men are demonic. They have racist ideas about Black men. And this is the takeaway, the major takeaway of buck breaking. We must fight against these racist ideas that are projected on Black men, because if we don't fight against these ideas will continue to run rampant, and they will inform criminal justice policy, they will inform policing, they will inform employment policy, they will inform all sorts of people in high places, and they will tell these people Black men are not worthy of any type of incorporation into the United States, particularly heterosexual Black men. That's why. These are my initial thoughts, brothers. These are my initial thoughts on Tariq Nasheed's documentary, Buck Breaking. I might do some more videos. I'm thinking about doing some more videos, just breaking down different elements of the documentary, because this documentary is unique. And again, what stood out to me, not just in the content, but in terms of Tariq Nasheed, the person of Tariq Nasheed, is that this is a brother who got balls. It takes balls. It takes balls. It takes nerves to put something out like this into the world, particularly in the United States. I said this on my Facebook page, and I'm going to leave this with you. All right. And this is what I said, brothers. I said that it takes backbone to criticize these ideologies, particularly LGBTQ ideology. And I said on my Facebook page that there is that a Black man criticizing LGBTQ ideology, a Black man like Tariq Nasheed, is like a Black man criticizing the state of Israel. A Black man criticizing LGBTQ ideology is like a Black man who criticizes the state of Israel and his treatment of Palestinians. Dr. Cornel West is one Black man who has criticized publicly the state of Israel and his treatment of Palestinians, and he has received all sorts of vitriol because of that. And what does it mean? It means that the LGBTQ people, in many respects, are no different from the Jewish lobby. And in fact, in many respects, you could say that they are kind of like that lobby. They have that gravitas. So, brothers, this is a serious work that we need to take in and watch. I want you guys to do your comments. Those of you all have already seen the video, leave your comments below. Those of y'all who haven't seen it, watch it and come back and comment. Okay. Listen, guys, I'm going to get out of here. If you like this content, if you want to see more of this, if you think that I should do some more commentary on buck breaking, I want y'all to put that in the commentary below. Okay. If this work is meaningful to you, support this via Cash App. You have my Cash App, $BMI 3000, Cash App, $BMI 3000, PayPal, Ronald B. Neal, PayPal, Ronald B. Neal, if you want to see more of this. All right. I thank you guys. I see all you brothers. Chaos Rain, Adam Williams, Taylor Jaw, Man Friday, Cortez Smith, Winston. I see Max Soul Excellence, G Rock, Sick Diggity. I'll see you guys on the next stream. You all take care. BMI forever.